What is going on, people? It is episode 30 stand-up sales with our usual co-hosts. At some point, might just sack it off for a week and get two random people to do it. But up until that point, it's me and Dylan. Dylan.
What's going on, brother? It's good to see you again.
Managed to keep it for 13 weeks running. This is a record in my book.
Yeah, good for us, dude. Just have a pat on the back.
Big time.
Yeah, 13 weeks, going strong. Probably the last one.
Yeah, for this
But no, topic of this one, guys, is scripts and frameworks. Similar, same, but different. When you should use a script, when you should use a framework, and kind of our thoughts on why they're important.
Yeah.
So I know you're a big script guy. You were saying before the podcast.
No, I'm a big framework guy. I hate scripts. I think scripts make lazy salespeople. And I think there's two sides of it, right? So, in my mind, when you have a script in front of you, you outsource all of your thinking, first of all, to whoever wrote you a script, right? So if this is your bosses who have been like, this is the script you have to use, go do it. There is no critical thinking involved by you, your understanding of who you're talking to at any point. You're just kind of going, okay, well, they say it works, so I'll be a robot. And just no. Up until, you either get results or you don't get results. And then if you don't get results, you just point at the person above you and say, well, it's their problem because they're the script. But then it's also like from like a top-down perspective, you hire these people for a reason. Like, why are you constraining them? Because by the sounds of it, you didn't hire someone who was good at sales, you hired a task monkey. At that point, you may as well just get like a recording and leave space for someone to answer it and have like Gong or Otter or something transcribe the answers and then just automate your whole sales process. Like, that person is a worthless expense.
Yeah. I think a script is good when people are starting, when they're ramping.
Okay.
Like getting to know the product.
Mm-hmm.
And then the script should be like, a script shouldn't be used as a crutch. It should be like a way to walk, which is a framework. So I do write a bunch of cold call scripts for our clients and for our students, but we were like, do not say it verbatim. Don't do that. This is just it's kind of a guide framework, whatever you want to call it. So I do think that scripts should be written because it's a good way of like distilling information in a way of a conversation. But you should never have the script up. You should know the script. You don't need to read it, right? You're going to practice a script to understand how to do it. Like this goes here, then this part goes here, then this part goes here. And then you should memorize and understand what is the words. And obviously, like you said, you hire people for their uniqueness and their abilities, right? So you're going to rephrase a lot of things, right? Because it needs to sound like you're saying it for the 1,000th time.
The way that I teach people that come through the sales psych program is, instead of thinking of like, don't treat sales like you would like driving a car with GPS. Because that's the last thing you do, right? At that point, you got your hands on the wheel, you feel on the pedals, and then you look down at the GPS a couple of minutes, or every couple of seconds, depending on how well or how poorly you know it. And then you get to insert place here, right? And you have no real concept of how to get there. But the thing, or the place that you go, like every day that you don't use a GPS for, you know that, I have to take a left at the gas station, and then I have to keep going straight until I see like this weird landmark, and then I take the next turning, right? And you just have like signposts in your head of like, I need to go here, then here, then here, then here. And if I do all of those things, I will reach my destination. And that's the thing you have to think about sales. If you try and treat a sales script like a GPS, you're so focused on the GPS, like everyone has done, you miss your turnings. And you're like, fuck! I'm gonna go all the way around again, right? It's the exact same shit.
Recalculating.
Yeah, exactly. And then your brain is sitting there recalculating, and you sit there like a dick on these calls, and the prospect's like,
he didn't say the correct thing. Click. Yeah. So we're in the same. We're in agreement here. Finally, is that yes, you need a framework of how you should be doing something, but what's in the guts is kind of up to you.
Yeah.
Like, I review a lot of cold call scripts, and a lot of them are bad.
Yeah.
Hence why they're working with us. But they're really good. They probably wouldn't need us.
I think
we had one script. It was like 6 pages.
What?
Yeah.
How long is a cold call on average?
Like an if then.
Oh,
if the prospect says this, go to page 3 and read. I'm like, whoa. It's never going to work. What the hell is this? No one's going to ever say the responses that you want them to say.
Yep.
Like every conversation is fluid and unique.
So that part, I have a slightly different perspective on, right? So when I told you the story about when I was a kid, I wanted to be a lawyer, right?
You went what?
When I was a kid, I really wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the barristers there told me that never ask a question that you don't already know the answer to. So the way of sales is whatever question about to ask, you should have at least a semblance of an understanding of what the prospect is going to do next. Otherwise, you're going to ask a question, it's going to take a whole conversation left, they're going to say something that you aren't prepared for, and then at that point, you're sitting there like, fuck, how do I recover, right?
Well, that's when product knowledge should kick in. Like, there should never be a question that you don't know the answer to, or you don't know a response to.
Okay.
Like, you should know like you said, kind of the same thing, but a little bit different, is like whatever a prospect says, like you should know the answer to it because you're trained on the product, the service, and the offering. Mm-hmm. So even if you do ask a question and you get a response that you've never heard before, you should be able to bring it back around based off of set questions in the framework of the script.
Or just flip to page 94 of this little handbook and will be
the
answer to the question.
Yeah. That's the fastest way.
Control F in your script and find.
Yeah, and like whenever someone gives you something crazy, just do mirror. Just mirror. They say something out of the box, just repeat it with a question, and then they'll probably give you an answer that you already know.
Yeah. So in terms of that, then, right? So you're reviewing cold call scripts.
Yeah.
What is the difference in your mind between a script and a framework? Is a script just something that you read verbatim, whereas a framework is, like I described, kind of like mental signposts? Like, how do you delineate between the two?
Does it sound like you're reading something?
Okay.
It all comes down to tonality and pace and like kind of the inflection of their tone. Mm-hmm. But you can tell when something's natural, and you can tell when something is probably being read off of something. Because you're more concentrated on reading than talking.
You can also, this is a super rookie error, right? And if you're in like a serious sales job and you do this for a living, if you have your script like on the side of your screen and then you have the prospect on the other, it's so obvious to anyone who's in sales who watches your eyes and can see you're going, yeah, and then and then you turn your eyes back. It's really, really irritating when you're the opposite end of that, first thing. Second thing, anyone who's been in sales for a while is going to be like, okay, script, this is going to be a pretty dull conversation where I have to answer a bunch of questions, and then you're going to say, okay, so I think that we can help, and then this is how we do it, and then you're going to go into some long, protracted fucking pitch. Don't do that. Like, have it, even if you have it on a piece of paper, like, when I was, like, first teaching, right? I told people, if you're really, really unsure about how the flow of a conversation should go, write out the 4 steps of a discovery call that I teach at the top of your notes. And then take notes on paper. So you can literally look down and see this flow of conversation. And at least then you'll know exactly where in the conversation you're meant to be. Because if you're looking down taking notes, that's not like frowned upon. But if you're glancing aside, like you have some kind of like weird tick, then yeah, it's going to be super obvious.
Yeah, super obvious. Or if you see like, if it's a later in the night demo and like the screen changes the color of their face, that's also a good one. You can see it's like a strobe light. They go to a Google Doc and go back to you, it's dark. Go back to a Google Doc, it's white. Yeah, but like that goes it back again to like knowing what it is that you're selling to the point where you don't need to read anything or use anything as a crutch. Yeah, it takes out the human aspect of sales, which is the most important aspect, because it's just two people having a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, conversate. Be a fucking normal person.
Yeah. And I think that's to kind of echo and challenge your point, right? Like, the one thing I hear a lot from, like, especially sales leaders is, well, there's going to be a ramping period where they don't know the product. Yes, that is true. That's why you need an effective ramping doc. That doesn't necessarily mean a script, right? So this is what we do within the agency is, yeah, we train people how to sell more effectively, but we also create ramping docs that give people product knowledge within the space of like 30 minutes, right? You should be able to read a document and go, okay, I know everything about this product, the end prospect who's going to be consuming it, what they want, what they don't want, why they're looking for it, all this stuff. And I should have at least the semblance of knowledge of that in my head, right? And then it's about the ability to say, okay, can I walk into this new product having that semblance of knowledge and understand how to run a call effectively? Because if you can do that, then that's the human side of it. And that is honestly what most people struggle with. Is you will get someone who knows the product inside fucking out, back to front, but still have a reasonable conversation with someone because they're basically a moron, and still not be able to do a decent job at selling, right? Product knowledge is not the be-all, end-all in my mind. And I think that's where I have the big issue with scripts, is it focuses a lot on you, like, knowing the script and knowing the product. It's like, well, I can walk onto an offer now and sell fucking video creation, knowing absolutely not all about video creation because I understand how a sales call should run.
That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, you can sell pretty much anything if you know sales.
Yeah.
Because it follows a framework.
Yeah, exactly that, right? And I think there's two distinct things. So there's understanding the framework of sales as like a monolith, as like a whole thing. That is number one, because at that point you're the most useful salesperson. Then there's knowing your specific thing that you are selling, and in my mind, that's achieved by a doc that is effective, right? In your mind, it's from a hell lot of practice on a single framework that encompasses both. It's just two ways of addressing the same problem, right? Whereas my focus is on the human element and yours is on know the product inside out and how to sell this product.
My big thing is practice.
Yeah.
That's it. We preach practice.
Yeah.
Allen Iverson, right? Practice, right? Like, you need to practice the fucking hell out of a script to where it doesn't become a script, it becomes a framework. So the biggest thing, I think, is that as a combination of a script and a framework, the first 5 to 15 seconds should be somewhat scripted.
Okay, interesting.
Because you know it works. It takes out the human variable in the beginning of a call where people are nervous, and it makes you feel confident. Knowing what you're going to say every time creates confidence, and it improves your delivery, your tonality, and the delivery of the words. You know them like the back of your hand.
Now that you said that,
and you can just say them over and over again.
Now that you said that, I'm now consciously aware of the fact that, like, I do have like an internal script that I have in my head where I say this exact same shit every single call to open it up. So yeah, no, now that you've said that and it verbalized in my head, yeah, you're 100% right. Because it just means that every call is the exact same for the first 30 seconds. I'm in sales mode now and I can continue. Yeah, okay, fair. Get it on that. Okay.
There we go. Point for Dylan there. Script is up one right now. But yeah, like, we script out the first 5 to 15 seconds of every call.
Okay. What is that script? Are you gonna?
We do this. We do the
permission based. Yeah.
Permission based openers. They just work too good for B2B, not B2C. B2C is not good. Hey man, I'm calling here without an appointment. What? You got to know your audience, right? But the permission-based sampler works really, really good. Because all you need in a cold call is for them to stay on the phone for the first 30 seconds, and then you're good.
I think it's an interesting one as well, right? Delineating between that initial first touch point in a cold call, where having a script and a script being actually kind of useful is great, versus where I come from, which is a closing environment, where having a script basically means you're a robot.
Yeah, I've never used. The one thing that I fucking hate is slides.
I completely agree with you.
Like, let's share the script with the prospect. Why would you do that?
Oh god, this is actually a funny story. So when I went to B school in the States for a year, right? And we did this whole like marketing consultancy like course, and then we had to go and present, and we presented to Coca-Cola in their head office. It was pretty cool, whatever, fine. And the professor basically said to us, okay, cool. Whatever you do, do not give a printed out copy or a PDF copy of what you're going to present to people beforehand, because they will sit and read it and ignore everything you fucking say. So do not do it. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of theirs, because then you just give them license to stop paying attention. And I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense. I walked into a consulting job, the first thing, send the slide before the meeting. I'm like, why? Right? And then I've taken that same mentality of do not show them the slides into now like selling in the business world, because I'm like, why would you actively distract them? People can read faster than they can listen, or rather, they read faster than you can talk. So if you have a bunch of shit on the slide, they're going to read it all, start thinking about their own conclusions to it, and then maybe zone back into you if what you're saying is particularly interesting or you're a good presenter. Why leave that to chance? Don't do it.
Yeah, like I ran our first webinar last night, and the webinar guy who helped create it, he wrote like scripts, and I was, because to be totally honest, if he's listening to this, I'm sorry, but he put a lot of work into the slides and the internal, presenter notes, script, whatever the fuck you want to call it. He's like, yeah, man, practice it. Obviously, I'm not practicing it. Because I know it's my company, it's my offer, I know it. So I would look at the script and I would just look at the slide, and what I kind of did is I knew it so well that I didn't know that you have to click next for each bullet point. I was like talking about the next bullet points, and I hit next, and it would just be repeating what I said. And I was like, this is why I don't ever use slides. So you just know the product. And it was like, yep, sorry, I just said.
That is consulting lingo. That is classic not drill. You did not drill that deck before you presented it. You had no idea the slide order. You had no idea what comes next on the animations. You didn't drill that. Rookie error.
Yeah, no. But it worked out fine because I actually know what the fuck I'm talking about. So
silver lining.
That's the silver lining. As if you know it, you don't need a script, you don't need slides if you're knowledgeable and confident in what it is you're talking about.
So that actually brings up another point, right? So like, I have my own views on how someone gains product knowledge, but actually happen. Is it as simple as learn it from marketing? Like, where do you get that info from?
So I think it's very important to understand the messaging that's in the market and why people are coming into your funnel and what they're under the inclination of what you do, right? Like if you have a big bold claim on your landing page and they book a call from your VSL and you talk about shit that's not in the VSL or the headline, it's going to cause a disconnect with the prospect. Like, well, this isn't what I booked a call for. So you obviously have to know what people's baseline understanding of why they're on the call and what interested them. So you need to know that messaging. But my best way of learning is twofold. One, it's listening to recorded calls of successful demos or successful cold calls and shadowing, like on the job experience. You need to get your feet wet. You're going to suck in the beginning, and that's totally fine. But like, I've been in companies where they're like, all right, Dylan, like the first month is going to be your boot camp. And it's like, I would just tell my manager, like, hey man, like, let me just slip and fall a couple times and I'll figure out how to walk. Mm-hmm. Like you can read, you can listen, you can do exercises, but at the end of the day, like on the job training is what's going to help you.
So I'm in agreement with you on that point massively. I think that any training should happen in tandem with actual live fire, because everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? Yeah. So this is all well and good.
Look at Upham, Saving Private Ryan, right? He went through basic training, and as soon as the guns started shooting, he's in the corner crying.
So that's why I tell clients when we do sales psych with them, I'm like, the goal is not to complete this as fast as possible. The goal is that we have a set session every week, and in between those sessions, they go out and actually do their fucking job. And if they do, they will learn way faster because they're having time to implement stuff session by session, right? So I think one of the big things that I found from doing like 2 sessions a week versus 1 session a week, 2 sessions a week is fucking hard. Like, people are mentally drained for those 2 sessions. And oftentimes, the amount of information that you give people is way too much. So in reality, they don't have that kind of like mental space in their head to implement bits of stuff they've just learned. Because it's just one big mass block. It's like, oh, this week we learned all of this, and it's like, oh shit, a lot of stuff to implement. Whereas when you do 1 session a week, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe an hour and a half of that is actually like training. Another hour, another like 30 minutes might be a role play. Another hour might be a call review. And when you do like that, and then they can take all of those learnings and go, okay, well, I remember this thing from the training, and then when I did it in the role play, I did like this. Okay, let me try that. You see people's progress just skyrocket so much faster. Yeah, 100%. I genuinely think that people should be role playing at least once a week,
Always.
minimum.
It's a big part of our program. Is we have scripted role plays with we like kind of call them like battle buddies. So you team up with another person in the program. So it's like your peer. It's not like a employer-employee or like hierarchy where you're like a little bit nervous. It's like we're on the same length. Super helpful there. And then I think a big thing that comes down to it is like trust in your employee.
Yeah.
Trust in your salesperson. Like keeping the leash on for too long. Like they're like, do these guys even trust me that I can do this confidently? And like let them go. Let them. That's the only best way. It's hire fast, fire fast, right? Like you got to put them in a real situation. You can't shelter them, and you got to show that you have trust in their ability.
I think from a management perspective, if you don't trust the people that you have bought into sell shit, you have A, hired badly, and B, you probably have some shitty internal processes when it comes to actually management. Because you have to trust these people more than basically anyone, right? They're the ones who your livelihood depends on. And if you're so intent on having them on with fucking training wheels, then you're just handicapping everyone. You handicap yourselves because you constantly micromanage and overmanage them, and you make them because they don't have the freedom to actually do their jobs as they want to. Promise.
Micromanaging is the worst thing in business. If you need to micromanage a rep, they shouldn't be on your team. You need people who want to get the thing done efficiently. Like if you're on top of them and you're like worried that they're not going to do it, it's literally worse than not having the employee and just doing it yourself.
I think when it comes to sales, the helicopter sales manager is possibly one of the most frustrating things. Like, you should not be up your employee's ass about X, Y, and Z. And that's how, like, when we go into or have sales management, the one thing that we stress more so than anything else is if you're gonna do this, like, you cannot, when you call reviews, sit and tell them why they suck. It is not helpful to anyone. Like, don't even bother doing it. Like, you may as well not do call reviews if you can do it like that, right? The most effective way we found of doing call reviews is for people who are listening in to, like, imagine they were the sales rep. Like, you plot your path. How would you have taken X, Y, and Z? When they said this, I would have said X, Y, and Z because it would have gotten me here. Okay, great. Now the person has useful fucking feedback, not you did this wrong, do it like this. Because no one wants to get that feedback.
Yeah, they need to come with examples. Give me bring 2 calls to our call review. One that you think that you didn't do a good job on, and one that you did do a good job on, in your opinion, and why was it good? Why was it bad? What would you improve upon if you could redo this? And listen.
100%.
And then coach. Because if they're not understanding what they're doing wrong, then you coach on that. Don't be critical. That's not going to do anyone, like you said.
Because at that point, no one wants to come back for help because you just seem like an asshole. And it's like, oh, I'm just going to get fucking roasted for an hour and a half again. And I say this as like the mean coaching program that we run together, that we're coaches in together. Like, I am the mean coach because I will sit and roast you for an hour. At the end of that, you're going to get 10 things that you can go away and actually change. And lo and behold, the people that can get past the meanness are like, holy shit, this stuff actually really works. My sales game is better. And I'm like, yeah, But it just means don't do all of the dumb shit as well. And then lo and behold, you review the next call, all the dumb shit is gone. Or like 85-90% of the dumb shit is gone. It's like, great, well done. So, overarchingly, scripts, yay or nay?
To an extent. You got to know when to use them, when not to use them.
Okay, so long-term scripts, yay or nay? Okay.
Nay. Because if you actually have a good script, it's
okay. That's interesting. So it kind of morphs out of a script and into the framework. At the start, scripts are good. Probably the first. Okay, yeah. So I think then we're basically in agreement, right? Like at the start, you need more structure. That should get less and less structured as you go on, and it's about building the muscle and that skill of understanding what does this actually constitute versus these are the words I need to say.
Yeah, I mean, to go with the muscle and the gym reference, the analogy is like when you first start going to the gym, you need to follow a workout plan, like to find new exercises, find the exercises that you like and work for you. And then once you figure out how to do the exercise correctly, then you can go to the gym with no plan and just know what to do because you've done it, the thing, and you've learned it.
All right, interesting. From sales, do you follow like the Reddit page, Our Sales? So
no, I try to spend.
So I only recently have like started looking on it just because I want to see if I can plug mail at you when people ask about like fucking tech and software, but also because like some of the stuff in there is just fucking ludicrous. Like people give some genuinely terrible advice, and sometimes it's cathartic to go and look at the state of sales training.
That's right.
So what would you say is the 20% most important sales knowledge that gives you 80% of the results? That's actually a legitimately good question. So I was like, all right, let me ask it on that. What would you say is the 20% most important sales knowledge that gets 80% of the results?
Yeah, questions. Good question asking. And the ability to listen and then ask those questions. So listening is the most important thing that you can do. And then taking the knowledge that you're listening to and then using your sales IQ to then craft a question that's based off of the information.
I would have echoed the exact same thing, but I would have made mine a little bit more focused on implication questions because that's the one thing people don't fucking use. It's like, what is the knock-on effect of the thing that I've just heard? And that in my mind is part of developing that sales IQ. For whatever offer you're on, whatever product you sell, okay, well, they say that they struggle to maintain a consistent pipeline. Okay, what is the knock-on effect of that? Now ask a question that gets you to the answer of what is the knock-on effect of that. And if you can do that effectively, you now have generated the ability to, like, define a problem in their own minds that they then answer and say, yes, this is an issue, and also to show them that speed and urgency is a factor that they need to address. That is the biggest gap, I think, for most people. And that is where I genuinely think scripts tend to do badly. To kind of round back to our scripting, right? Because to the previous point that we've made earlier, like, you don't know what someone's going to say. And there is no way of a script adequately doing that. But if you develop that sales IQ, that muscle, and you can go, okay, well, they just told me this. What is the implication of that? What is the knock effect? How do I get them to voice that themselves? I need to ask an implication question that references the issue that is at hand. So, yeah.
Also comes down to product knowledge.
The hill that I will die on, Dylan. You don't need product knowledge to be good in sales. Yes, that I will 100% give. Without that, it's way more difficult.
Way more difficult to ask those poignant questions.
You need the back end understand,
to loop into your product.
I think that's a pretty point to leave it at.
That's a pretty point to leave it at. Obviously, we're terrible at coming up with ideas for the next episode, so I won't even tease it. If you guys have been rocking with us for 13 episodes, we'll be here for 14.
See if we can get all the way to 50.
Thanks for listening.
Oh, there you go. I'll tell you what. If we make it all the way to 52, we'll do the 52nd in person.
Yeah, we'll have to. I'm not going to rainy ass London.
It does not sound like an idea to me. I'm 100% down for that. All right, there you go.
All right, let's do it. I'll see you guys next